What's up, everybody? I have another video. Thanks for dropping by. So right now I'm gonna go over my gear and the skills on my skill tree. So here we go. So for my melee gear piece, I have faultless and vulnerability nanites. I have some might, some valor, uh 53 for might, 53 for valor. That's pretty good. uh The perk I have is it's a 12.9 chance that um, melee critical hits granted invulnerability buff. Heavy power attacks deal plasma damage. And chose why I tend to choose the melee critical hits, those perks that activate any type of buff, is because I have a good amount of valor on my build. And what is it? My critical damage is 259. That's pretty good. And my critical chance is basically 17%. So I'll be critting a lot, which means I'll be activating this perk a lot. So down to the ranged. This is a ranged piece with a Jarvis Barrier perk on it. It really comes in handy. I really got lucky with this one because it's 55 resolve and 54 might, which is good, but I've had better pieces just with the, wrong perks. But the two perks that are the most important are, of course, the Jarvis Barrier perk and the Gamma Synapsis booster. It's the small debris attacks deal gamma damage. And why the small debris gamma perk is better than the large debris gamma perk is because for some reason, whenever you have the Gamma Synapsis booster, basically the small debris attacks deal gamma damage, for some reason, you can activate whatever perk you have on your ranged through charged power attacks, charged melee power attacks, which is it's pretty cool. So really, instead of me having to throw rocks to activate the Jarvis Barrier, I can just do melee, charged melee attacks to activate it, and I can throw the small debris, and that's pretty good. So next we got defense. I have another Jarvis Barrier perk, perfect evading. I personally think that any perfect evading perk is better than taking damage. Let me rephrase that. I think that any perfect evading perk is better than a chance taking damage activates whatever perk, because whenever you play on the higher difficulty, you don't want to get hit. The enemies will two-shot you. So, and it's just, you can, I don't know, it just makes more sense. So I have might, good amount of might on the defense. I have some resolve and I have some intensity. I like intensity because it increases the status damage and the stun damage. I think that's important. Status damage is very important because it can double or even quadruple your damage that you do already. So that's good. So I got the Jarvis Barrier piece on here. And now down to the heroic. I have some valor, some more might, of course, and proficiency. I like to have proficiency at least 40. At least 40 proficiency, because if you want your freaking, what is it? If you want your perks to activate more than often, then you have to have proficiency, because that boosts your perk chance. So right now my perk chance is 14.7, which is basically 15%. That's pretty good. And the perks on my heroic is very good. I have Bone Shaker's Blitz. That's 20% increased damage while Bone Shaker is active. That's really good. again, I'm really trying to focus on everything like defense, heroic, and and how much damage you can do. So the two most important perks on my heroic piece is what I just said, Bone Shaker's Blitz. It increases damage while Bone Shaker is active by 20%. And then the other one is defeat 3 enemies in rapid succession to grant a heroic charge burst. That's very important because you're always going to be killing enemies, and that means 75% of the times your heroics will be charging back extra fast. Now, to the minor artifacts, a lot of people don't pay attention to the perks on the minor artifacts, but I do. So the top one, I have Cosmic Affinity ISO 8. I have Resilience. For armor, I have more Resolve and more Might. And what I like about Resilience is that up here, down here, Resilience actually increases armor and increases your support heroic. And Hulk support heroic is Bone Shaker, so that's good. And let me see. The second perk. Wait, did I say the second perk? No, I didn't say the second perk. So the first perk that I have on here that's important is Heroic Assistance. It basically increases charge rate of heroic by 5.5%, which is pretty good. And then the second perk, which is very, very important, is the Reactive Cosmic Surge, where it's basically a 13% chance when taking any damage grants a Cosmic Surge buff. Dealing damage while the buff is active restores a small amount of willpower and heroic energy. So what's good about this is whenever you have a Jarvis Barrier up, you'll absorb incoming damage. That's up to 20% of your maximum willpower. But that can still activate the Cosmic Surge buff. So technically, you can take damage without taking damage. Well, let me rephrase that. You can activate the Cosmic Surge perk without having to necessarily take damage, because I guess whenever damage is done to your Jarvis Barrier, that counts as you taking damage. So that's like free heroic energy granted right there. So second minor artifact is the yellow ISO. I have a bunch of Valor. I have 140. I have 45, 33, and 31 Valor. I'm trying to find a Cosmic Affinity minor artifact with basically the exact same stacks with the exact same stats, but with the perks of the first minor artifact. So I'm hoping that all 4 of the perks for the ISO 8 Cosmic Affinity will stack. That's when I get the second one, and I guess that will make 4 perks. I'm just hoping it stacks. So if I get another Cosmic Affinity minor artifact, that will add an extra 5.5% charge rate to my support heroic. And then that will add another basically 13% to the Cosmic Surge perk. So that basically doubles it. That's what I'm trying to say. Basically doubles it. From the minor artifact, I use the Tactagon because, of course, the Valor and Might. And it increases status damage very well. So now that we got the actual gear out of the way, I'm going to show you the skills. And I actually had to re-record this whole video because I had to change some skills. So for the support heroic ability, I have Rampaging Bone Shaker, defeat 5 enemies, and it will increase Bone Shaker by 5 seconds. That's going to be easy because you have a decent amount of melee, and it's going to be easy for you to kill enemies just like that. Um, the second perk, Savage Heroism, defeating enemies who are taunted by Bone Shaker causes them to drop heroic orbs. Again, that will be easy. Usually what I do is, and when there's a ton of enemies, activate Bone Shaker, and then I just thunderclap, and I usually kill everybody in the room, and then everyone in the room drops a heroic orb. And then not only that, killing 3 enemies consecutively or at the same time, simultaneously, basically, it activates that heroic charge burst perk on my heroic gear. So I'll basically be able to refill all my heroics. So my assault heroic ability, the skills I have for this is irradiated destruction, and this ability I use is mainly for the status damage, and it helps me get out of sticky situations when my health is low. I picked this skill because he deals gamma damage everywhere. He deals gamma damage in a large radius, basically. So now all you have to do is just start spamming Hulk's heavy attack that I think is called Tectonic Fury, and with that does plasma damage, and it will be doubling your damage from the status damage, and the intensity raises that up even more. The intensity stat that I have. So this perk this skill I have is mainly for status. The second skill I have on the Assault Heroic ability skill tree is Double Strangle. Basically gives you a second charge of Stranglehold. So that's good. Now to the ultimate heroic ability is Thunderclap. I usually alternate between the top one and the bottom one. It depends. Like if there's a lot of enemies and I want to just get heroic orbs and I want to reach all of them and I know that I can one-shot them, I'll choose Epicenter. But if I'm fighting like an elite team and I'm trying to just hurry up and kill everybody, I'll choose Fault Line because that increases stun damage and regular damage to 25%. And that's good. Now, this right here, Thunderclap, this skill right here, it's okay. It's okay because a lot of enemies don't tend to survive Thunderclap, but I guess when you're fighting on the harder difficulties, most of the enemies do. So whoever survives is taunted, and enemies that are taunted, they do less damage to you and you do more damage to them. But when I'm playing on challenge 150 or 165, I would usually go with this, but the Thunderclap Heroic Recovery skill, there's a 50 chance defeating enemies with Thunderclap will cause them to drop heroic orbs. I've tested this out, and for some reason this just doesn't work. Like it never worked for some reason. I don't know what the issue is. It just doesn't work. But anyway, to the mastery, melee, vice grip. This skill right here, attacks with held enemies are now protected from interruption from enemy attacks. I like this skill because I grab a lot. I have another perk where attacking enemies with held enemies does 20% more damage, and I don't like it when I have to drop enemies, so that's good. The second skill, hard swings, increases damage and impact of held enemies by 20%. Right here, these are takedown skills. Of course, I'm going to choose the skill that allows you to get heroic orbs from doing a takedown. Now, to his ranged. I just chose this one for the large debris because it does stun. And the more stun damage you do, it's easier for you to do takedowns and get heroic orbs back. But for this perk, I just recently changed it because it increases ranged attack damage by 15%. And if you remember what I said earlier, having that, what was it? Having this perk right here, Gamma Synapses Booster, it allows you to activate ranged perks whenever you do charged melee, heavy melee attacks with Hulk. So that means, over here. That means whenever I do that Hulk's Tectonic Fury, that the radial impacts from that attack count as range. So I'm doing 15% more damage every time I do that. And other power attacks too. I recently changed this this skill as well, hand cannon, because it says it increases light and heavy attack damage by 33% when using small debris as a melee weapon. I changed it to that because, again, with that Gamma Synapse Booster perk that allows you to activate whatever ranged perks you have through charged heavy melee attacks. But anyway, I don't necessarily use the small debris as an actual, I don't actually use it to attack. What I do is I use it as a way to easily spread gamma damage, because this is what I do. I pick up the small debris and I don't press square, because that means Hulk will just hit the enemy with the rock and you'll lose it. What I do is I always evade and do his monstrous swipe, which is a backhand, and every move. What am I trying to say? The moves after that, all the way until the finishing combo, his light finishing combo, you don't attack with his right hand, which has a rock in it, and that means you don't lose a small debris, but you can still spread gamma damage without necessarily hitting the enemies with the rock. So that's just an easy way to spread gamma damage without having a specific perk. But anyway, to the intrinsic ability, I went with this. The defense, it's I feel like this is the best. Increases defense strength by 15% while rage is active. The second skill right here increases all damage by 15% while rage is active. That's good. Then the third skill is maximum rage. It increases the maximum amount of intrinsic rage energy by 15%. That's good as well. And then his overcharge skills increases critical attack chance by 15% while overcharged. I like that because whenever you have an invulnerability buff or Jarvis Barrier activated, it's easy to go on overcharge because you don't have to worry about getting hit for the most part, and you don't have to worry about any projectile or any enemy knocking you out of overcharged. And I have a good amount of Valor, so that just increases my critical attack chance even more. And when that increases my critical attack chance, that increases most of my perks, because most of my perks are based off of either melee critical attacks or ranged critical attacks. So Valor in general is important with this build. So the second intrinsic overcharge skill is increases all damage by 20% while overcharged. Again, it's going to be easier for you to stay in overcharge because of all the Jarvis Barrier buffs and all that. And the invulnerability buff. There we go. Couldn't talk. I'm speaking a little bit too fast. I know it sounds like I'm rushing, but I'm kind of on the time limit. So the last intrinsic over intrinsic overcharge skill is temper, and it reduces the rate at which overcharge energy drains, and it allows you to stay in overcharge for longer, which is good. Because the longer you stay in overcharge, the longer you can just deal that automatic 20% damage. So, these are all my skills. And I'm not done with this build, by the way. I want to swap some things out for some better gear. I've been doing that stupid 14th floor hive, and I'm looking for a certain Jarvis Barrier melee piece, but for some reason, it never drops. And it's kind of irritating. It makes me mad, really. But I'm gonna swap out. I'm gonna try to find a better. I'm gonna try to swap out this minor artifact for a better one. I'm gonna swap out this targeted Jarvis Barrier enhancer range gear piece for a damage buff gear piece whenever I get the right Jarvis Barrier melee piece. So everything's really depending on the Jarvis Barrier melee piece. But that's gonna be it. I hope that everyone that was asking for this video to see my skill tree, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you liked this video, leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And I don't know, comment down below. Tell me if you want me to do maybe Thor next, because I like Thor as well. He's like my second main. So yeah, until next time, guys, have a good day, and I'll see you later.